Are you always coming up with ideas? Do you marvel at successful business owners? Do you hate being told what to do? Ever take things apart just to see how they work? Are you a dreamer? If you've answered yes to any of these questions, this podcast is for you. Welcome to the Entrepreneurial Enclave with Kevin Wortham, the podcast that focuses on building, maintaining, pivoting, planning, and investing in you, the entrepreneur. But first, a word from our sponsor.
Pro Tapes and Specialties is the world leader in tape manufacturing and specialty conversion with over 40 years of experience. In addition to our pro brand of high-quality specialty adhesive tapes, we provide contract converting services that help improve your profitability, streamline your supply chain, and reduce inventory cost. We offer the most complete range of converting capabilities in the industry, such as cloth tape, double-coated tape, specialty tape, paper tape, masking tape,
vinyl tape, carton sealing tape, adhesive transfer tape, duct tape, foam tape, electrical tape, filament tape, foil tape, reflective tape.
And the tape just keeps on rolling. Visit us online today at www.protapes.com or call us at 800-345-0234. Pro Tapes, it's just how we roll.
Welcome to another fantastic episode of the Entrepreneurial Enclave, Life's Coming Attraction. I am your host, Kevin Wortham. Man, just get excited when you want to talk about city and you want to talk about development. All right, here we go. Brian, what's going on, my friend? How are you?
Hey, Kevin. So good to talk to you. Thanks for having me be a part of this. Appreciate it so much.
You and the work that you're doing with Greater Trenton is just fantastic. So I knew that I had to have you on the podcast. And so tell us your particular position with the Greater Trenton and your responsibilities.
So I serve as a senior vice president at Greater Trenton, really responsible for, not only helping to catalyze economic development initiatives in the city, but also working on engagement in the community, particularly as part of our updated strategic plan, to try to really strengthen and enhance those collaborations and partnerships vital to moving the city forward.
Wow. Now, so thank you. That sounds good. Is it really?
It is good too.
Okay. Is it really working? Because I'm not seeing that. And so share with me some of the projects that you guys are working on, in this private public venture, so that we get a better sense of how we're trying to move Trenton forward.
No, absolutely. That's a great question. So, there are a number of things that we continue to work on to help, attract development and investment in the city. I'll start with this. The Economic Recovery Act was passed into law. And so we have been very diligent in trying to enhance the impact of that, particularly as it relates to Trenton.
Yes.
To build, better, more equity and more activity in the city. And so part of that means that, in terms of developer equity, in terms of brownfields,
Yes.
in terms of being able to come in, as a minority and have development opportunities in the city, that is truly enhanced now. And so and then to shift gears, though, there's another company that we also helped to locate here recently, Princeton Hydro.
Yeah, and they just had their ribbon cutting and grand opening, right?
Just had a grand opening and ribbon cutting.
Awesome.
And so they are in the Roebling Block 3 building in Chambersburg.
Yes.
Right off of 129.
Yes.
It's an engineering firm. They bring 30 plus jobs to the city. And so again, we're very excited about this progress, and we see great things really in the near, short term and future of Trenton.
Awesome. Now, so what is your sales pitch to these companies, to these entrepreneurs that you think might be interested in being in Trenton? What's your sales pitch, Brian?
Well, it's the sales pitch that we used when we put our Amazon proposal together about 2017.
Yes.
And it's basically when you look at Trenton and you look at the the fact that it's got a mass transit hub, the fact that it's got a storied riverfront. Look at the fact that it's got so much highway access.
Yes.
Whether it's 29, 129, Route 1, 295, but you name it. It's really a transportation hub.
Yes.
So you can get anywhere from Philadelphia, from New York, and then with the Amtrak, pretty much anywhere, really around the world. And so and then we've got a airport,
Yes.
Trenton Mercer Airport, that has flights that actually traverse the world as well, charter flights. And so it is a very, very attractive place to be. Not to mention the tremendous arts and culture here, the diversity of food, the history that really makes up the city. It is one that many cities really they won't. Trenton has, and they don't have it.
Okay.
And so it is a very, very attractive destination, particularly if you are you work and you want to live in the city as well.
Yes.
And so they're really there's so many amenities here. From arts and culture. You got the Experience Arena, you got the War Memorial. I mean, there's so many things here to do and see. So I think it's for folks that are looking to be a part of the city, and they come here and for the first time, and we give them a tour. I mean, they're in awe of all that the city has.
Okay. Now, quick pivot. So now that you guys are 2-0 with projects, can we go 3-0? What's going on with the hotel? So
the hotel right now, is the opportunity is that there was an investor
Yes.
Who purchased portfolio properties across the United States, really, and the Trenton Lafayette Hotel was one of those.
Yes.
And so the plans are, and again, we really don't know, where this is in its life cycle, but the plans are to split the hotel, 100 rooms for veteran housing,
Yes.
and another 100 rooms for hotel use.
I love it.
Which would include separate elevators with a working restaurant, and so that's the plan.
I love
And
it.
so we hope that moves forward in some capacity, because capital city without a hotel is just unacceptable.
Absolutely. Oh man, that would be wonderful. Wow, 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 wow. Okay. Now, so going back to your pitch, when people are looking at Trenton, what do they think about the housing stock that's in the city, and what do they think about the housing stock that's downtown Trenton? What do they think about that?
So downtown, so what I've seen and what we've seen is that there are developers that are taking advantage of the entire city when it comes to residential, because one of the things that we engaged in at Greater Trenton was a residential study.
Yeah, okay.
And this residential study basically showed that there was demand for 760 additional units in Trenton.
Okay.
Now this was pre-pandemic,
Yes.
so we're in the process of updating that study to show the impact. But you can go just about anywhere in Trenton, and you can see new housing
Yes.
developments all over the place. And so there's certainly a demand here, particularly with the success of the rolling lofts
Yes.
on that part of town, and the Commonwealth, in the downtown area, and others popping up across the city. So there's a huge demand for rental, which is clear. So that's a great sign for the city.
Now, in your work in terms of public-private ventures, are we taking a look at art and entertainment? Are we taking a look at our infrastructure in terms of streets and roads? And are we taking a look at the low, not low, but I guess high population of people that seem to be unfortunate and displaced, like homeless? Are we taking a look? Do we take all that in consideration?
Absolutely, and one of the things that we Greater Trenton, why our mission is to catalyze economic development opportunities in the city.
Yes.
But for those areas that we may not have a direct impact on, we partner and collaborate on those areas. And so, for instance, one of the things you talked about the homeless population. You talked about there's a poverty in Trenton that's that's not the greatest. Let's be honest.
Yes.
And so one of the things that we engaged in is a STEM program. So we're working with the Princeton University. We're working with the Trenton Public Education Foundation.
Yes.
And we're working with the Black Seal Certification Program.
Awesome.
To help young students get their degree, get their certificates
yes.
to become certified high and low pressure boiler operators.
Wonderful.
As well as introducing them to the field of architecture through the Princeton Arch Prep program.
Yes.
Love it. And it is a very, very impactful program that impacts roughly 25 students each year. And so and these are the types of things that we want to continue to do. We want to continue to partner, particularly as we also work to attract STEM companies
yes.
To the city, like Princeton Hydro.
Yes, yes. This is fantastic. So where do you see the impact that Greater Trenton could have had or will have in 3 to 5 years? Where do you see that impact going? If you had a crystal ball, what do you see downtown? What do you see in the Trenton area as a result of Greater Trenton?
Well, I mean, what I see is, a vibrant city.
Yes.
I see a city that also is looking, has workforce development opportunities for its residents.
Yes.
Because we don't think that any economic development in the city can happen unless, we prepare, the existing residents here for the growth, because they have to be part of that growth. And so that's why we were so focused on, education, STEM education, but also, innovation technology centers, things like that, to help, engage with the community so they can be successful. Part of that is, our TrentonDaily location, which reaches about 100,000 people a year now. And so it's one of those things that we put together back in 2018 because not enough publications are talking about the deep stories happening in communities across Trenton.
Very true.
And so, but it's not just a publication; it's also a way to engage with Trenton High School seniors. And so,
yes.
what we do is we have a program, an internship program, which is a paid summer internship. Students come in, they learn about journalism and communications.
Yes.
And then they help us create positive narratives across the city, particularly in the neighborhoods that they live in. So it's a great way to engage. It's a great way to also get the community involved in what we're doing. And then at the end of that internship, we also give them a stipend for college. Oh
man, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. But listen, I mean, that's wonderful. But I'm saying, Bryan, I want you to put your crystal ball in your hand. What are some of the other businesses or entities that you would like to see in Greater Trenton or in the downtown area?
Well, really, the crystal ball, it comes down to jobs.
Okay.
I mean, I think, at the end of the day, we want to attract companies here, employ the residents that live here.
Yes.
I mean, that's really the ultimate goal.
Okay.
Because, we hear a lot of talk about gentrification.
Yes.
And what could potentially happen to us if, for instance, an Amazon were to come to a city like Trenton.
Yes.
And honestly, as I mentioned before, if I had a crystal ball, it would be to be able to reduce the poverty rate in Trenton.
Yes.
Through the availability of jobs and equitable opportunities for Trenton residents.
I love it. Yeah. So do you think we need more restaurants? Do we need more entertainment? Because those seem to be the more obvious. Because I don't know if you're going to always get the big guy that can come in and say, I need $500, $800, but maybe you get a small company that says I need 5 to 8 people. I mean, do you?
Well, it's interesting. Yeah, I think, entertainment is, we have so many venues now
Yes.
that provide, at least have the capacity for entertainment, including the True Insurance Arena, the War Memorial,
Yes.
even the Trenton Thunder,
Yes.
ballpark and areas like that draw a lot of people. What we need to do, though, is make sure that, those folks are not coming to those venues and going home. We want to make sure they're coming into the venues and then participating with other businesses locally,
Yes.
particularly state workers.
Yes.
And so that's why we developed a white paper.
Okay.
It's a residential white paper to incentivize state workers to live and work in the downtown.
Oh,
And
wow.
so we would provide a stipend that would go directly to the landlords,
Yes.
and give them an incentive to live and work here. And
Now,
those are the things that we're doing to try to incentivize people to stay.
now, is the white paper, is that public knowledge?
Oh yeah, absolutely,
Wow.
absolutely.
Well, no, I thank you. Wow. Okay. Wow. Now, when you talk about working here, are you guys pretty excited with the way the educational system is moving about?
We've been thoroughly impressed with the new high school, and not just physically,
Okay.
but also the programs that they have there in terms of a lot of direct engagement,
Yes.
and a lot of interactive training with the with the students to really prepare them for specific careers that they may be interested in. I think it's just a wonderful thing to have that.
Okay.
So when they get out of high school, they have skills that they can actually use, and employable skills as well. And so we think it's on the right track, and so we're very happy and proud of what's happening.
Now, Bryan, what attracted you to Trenton, and what attracted you to Greater Trenton for your work?
So very interesting question. So before I came to Greater Trenton, I've been doing economic development for quite a while, really starting back to my days in New York and Lower Manhattan.
Yes.
Right after 9/11, when the dust was clearing,
Yes.
to my work in Philadelphia, working for the Greater Philadelphia Chamber of Commerce. I worked for the business attraction arm to really attract companies to an 11-county region, which, by the way, Mercer County was one of those regions.
Oh, wow.
And so I was very, very interested in, helping, underserved communities like Trenton,
Yes.
like Philadelphia, to be able to, attract companies, to be able to, reduce the poverty rate, to be able to give opportunities for residents that live there through job creation.
Yes.
And so that's what really attracted me to Trenton, because, looking at Trenton on paper, it is the greatest city that any developer or investor would want to invest in.
Wow.
Because it's got all the assets. It really does. It's got all of the assets
Wow.
that you would want in the city. And so, not understanding why Trenton, being the capital city
Yes.
of New Jersey,
Yes.
that it's not as far along in its economic development process, that kind of got my interest.
Okay.
And so, my desire to be was to help facilitate that work.
Well, I'm glad you're here, because I think that on paper Trenton looks like a superstar, but we know that we haven't always had the greatest of leadership, and sometimes the vision hasn't always been clear. So I thank you for coming about and just really believing in Trenton, right?
That's exactly right.
How far do you guys go in terms of encouraging people to consider Trenton?
We go all the way. We to the where we'll rent out a van and take investors on a tour of Trenton.
No. I guess what I'm saying, and thank you. I mean, how far do you go in terms of distance? Like, will you go out to Washington, D.C.? Would you go out to New York? I mean, to Pittsburgh and – those kind of things to attract and encourage folks to look at Trenton as being viable?
That's exactly right. So, we go all the way. We to the where we'll rent out a van and take investors on a tour of Trenton. No,
How far do you go in terms of distance? Like, will you go out to Washington, D.C.? Would you go out to New York? I mean, to Pittsburgh and those kind of things to attract and encourage folks to look at Trenton as being viable?
there's really no limit in terms of where we go on a geographic basis.
Got you.
And I think it really speaks to the board that we have.
Yes.
Because our board, many of them are global companies.
Yes.
And when they have a seat at the table,
yes,
it really makes all the difference.
Yeah. Now, who are some of the larger companies that sit on your board?
Well, we've got Wells Fargo.
Yes.
We've got Bristol Myers Squibb.
Yes.
We've got Princeton University. We've got Horizon Blue Cross, Thomas Edison State University, St. Francis, PSE&G, TD Bank, Janssen Investors Bank, and JM Insurance, and so obviously we've got some names that have some heft to them when bringing people to the table.
Just a little bit of clout. Just a little bit of clout.
Sure, absolutely.
Okay, and so they're also part of the welcoming committee when you begin to find that there's interest, or you begin to target a company that you would love to see in Trenton.
Absolutely.
I love it. Now, what do you think are some of the challenges that you and the board face with positioning Trenton to be, their heaven, their seventh heaven?
Well, Kevin, as you know, one of the biggest challenges is perception.
Yes.
And it's something that we deal with quite regularly. When folks think about Trenton, they're not necessarily thinking about the assets. They're not necessarily thinking about the mass transit system or the waterfront or the highway access. Right?
Yes.
When a lot of people think about Trenton, they're thinking about the negative things.
Yes.
The poverty rate, the crime. And so while some of it is reality, most of it is unfortunately perception.
Yes.
And so, that's what we work to do. We work to create a narrative to educate folks about who and what Trenton really is.
Yes.
And it's certainly an area that just as any other city across the United States of its size deals with many of the challenging issues that other cities deal with. So it's really not different in that aspect. But when you think about the asset here,
yes.
Trenton really should be much further along than it is from an economic development standpoint.
Absolutely. So now, with the legalization of cannabis, is Greater Trenton taking a look at that as to how they could be a part of that whole collaborative?
Well, again, it's an opportunity to create jobs in the city.
Yes.
It is now legal. And so, and so absolutely. I think there are some really great opportunities for that. The mayor is very excited about the opportunities ahead for cannabis. And so, I think that, job creation is a big thing. And I think if there's an industry that can bring jobs, then that's great.
Absolutely. But more importantly, not only bringing jobs, it can give opportunities beyond the jobs in terms of additional training. And it also, I think it kind of turned the table a little bit, because now those folks that have been disenfranchised and may have been penalized as a result of it now could be a part of it. So I love that. I was just talking to Roland Pott, and he was telling me about this new project that he's working on in terms of bringing a dispensary downtown Trenton, at one of his properties that's next door to the Starbucks. That property.
Right.
So I am excited. I can't wait for that to open up, and I'm hoping to maybe have that owner on the podcast as well, because I'm just curious to hear his story and his background as well.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no, I work with Roland quite a bit. And all full disclosure, I'm also the vice chair of the Trenton Downtown Association, working with Roland Pott as the chair as well.
Oh, okay, good. Oh man, okay. Not a problem. This is fantastic. Then, so one hand washes the other, and we just kind of grow. We grow this thing together. But so one of the things that I was sharing with Roland, and one of the things I can share with you, I would love to see more arts and entertainment downtown. I would love to see more blockage of our
Yes.
downtown streets. Maybe Wednesday through Sunday, where folks through art in downtown can come about. So when the hotel was very active in it, like the first 3 years of the activity of the hotel, right? There were a lot of art studios right on Lafayette Street.
Yes.
And they were there for First Friday, so you had that whole crowd of people that came to the hotel area, but to also partake in all of those art stores that were along Lafayette, and that was fantastic. And that went on 7 days a week, but they emphasized First Fridays. But I would like to go back to that, not necessarily them being located on Lafayette Street, but just downtown where there's like pop-up shops. You invite other artists from all over just to be downtown where there's art and entertainment. And you would do that, maybe, Wednesday through Sunday, because again, once it starts to get cold, folks start to look at other venues that may perhaps be indoors and a little warmer, but while it's warm, we need to take advantage of that all the time. And these are things that I see cities that are much smaller than us, and then cities, of course, that are much larger than us. They take advantage of. There's always something in the warmer months. Every day there is something going on in their downtown area, and I don't know why.
No,
and I don't know why.
That's a great point. And to that point, Starbucks itself has been a catalyst for a lot of artists.
Yes.
Coming in to showcase and also to sell their artwork right in Starbucks, and so they've been great. And there are plenty of organizations that support the arts, like NJM and others that want to see art grow, particularly in downtown Trenton. So absolutely. I do see that as a one person said to me earlier that Trenton is actually becoming a creative arts economy. And I see that all throughout the city, but I certainly see that happening in downtown Trenton, for sure.
And we have to jump on that and kind of like multiply those effects, because art brings out this whole other community that just has another vibe about it. And I love it, man. I love it. So we've got to find a way to continue to do that. Now, but here's the thing. We've talked about the downtown area, but let's talk about the neighborhoods, in the deep heart of some of the neighborhoods. Is Greater Trenton concerned about that? Or are you working to do some collaborations in the deep neighborhoods?
No, absolutely. We as an organization, we're concerned about the entire city of Trenton.
Awesome.
All 91,000 residents.
Awesome.
So, and so absolutely. And as I mentioned before, we have a number of partnerships and collaborations. We also have a committee that is it consists of leaders in the community.
Yes.
Religious leaders, education leaders,
yes.
Financial leaders, political leaders, to be able to look at how we can interact and engage to bring about change in various parts of Trenton. And so we are actively involved in that effort.
Okay. Now, have you guys looked at the old Mercer Hospital on Bellevue Avenue?
Yes, I know that has been looked at. Absolutely. Okay. Awesome. Absolutely. Yes.
Because at one point I thought that would be a wonderful location for these universities that are very steep with urban policy or urban planning. For them to set up a satellite campus there, right?
Sure, right. No, absolutely.
I don't know, maybe I'm speaking out of turn, but I that's what I see there. That whole going from, it's almost like a half a block.
Oh yeah, no, it's pretty tremendous idea. It's a great opportunity. But speaking of urban policy, Kane University.
Yes.
Under the leadership of Dr. Youngblood.
Yes.
He has really made some some traction in bringing Kane University and bringing their presence to Trenton on West State Street.
Awesome.
And so, as you know, Kane University is now running the Watson Institute
I didn't know that part. Okay.
of urban policy, and so they brought that to West State Street, and so that they're going to have a lot of interaction and engagement in the community. So we're very excited about that.
Awesome, man. This is fantastic. I'm glad I had you on the show because I would have never known that. But that's fantastic, right? Wow, I love
Absolutely.
it. I love it. So, is there anything else that you want us to know? Is there anything that we need to share with you in terms of what we desire in the city of Trenton? Is there a movie theater coming?
Not that I know of. Not that I know of. Although that would be a wonderful thing.
You know, it's so funny
no.
when you talk to some of the old heads and old school people. They talk about, and they always tout that back in the day, Trenton had 19 movie theaters. Wow.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Incredible.
We also had a roller rink, right?
Yeah, and I've had some former students that have thought about trying to not duplicate that size, but certainly bring back roller skating in an indoor capacity, because that was so much fun. So I mean, there's a lot of opportunities here. We just have to find the private-public venture. Now, speaking of private-public venture, are you also working in conjunction with the county as well when you see that there's a need for collaboration?
Oh no, absolutely, and I do want to make this point of clarification. So, Greater Trenton we are a private 501(c)(3), and so we certainly do work with the county, the city, the state. But we are completely privately funded. So we do not accept any money from the city or the county. So I just want to make that distinction. But no, absolutely. I mean, there are a number of collaborations, including this recent Hydro move that were full collaborations with the city, the county, and others.
Okay, fantastic. So there could be. That could be an entry point for more businesses to be a part of that complex and also the downtown area.
Absolutely.
Are they looking to hire folks from the community?
Now, who looking to hire first?
Princeton Hydro.
See, absolutely, and in fact, they are. I believe this week they're putting out some job opportunities.
Oh wow!
To bring some people in there. I believe they're mostly support positions, but what they did tell me is that they are only with a capital O.
Okay.
Only hiring people from Trenton for these positions. So they are very committed to that. And so, one thing about Princeton Hydro, because most of their staff are engineers and scientists.
Yes.
It's very, very specialized industry.
Yes.
And so part of that is, again, developing these workforce development opportunities to train Trenton residents up.
Yes.
So they can be skillful and experienced and be able to take these types of jobs.
Fantastic. Now, one of the things, and this is just my personal soapbox. We used to have an entrepreneurial incubator here. And I would love to see something like that be reinstituted, because we've got a lot of young folks. We got a lot of folks that are thinking entrepreneurially, and I would love for them to have a place where they could feel at home, where their talents could be honed, and they would have a location to showcase their talents and their business.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. In fact, we are working through there's an NJEDA planning grant that we're working with the city of Trenton on and others to create an innovation center in the heart of downtown.
Awesome.
And so that would be, it would allow students and young folks from Trenton to come in and up and learn some deep skills to make them employable, particularly in STEM related fields.
Yeah, because I used to be a part of the Trenton Incubator, which was across the street from Mill Hill Park under the garage.
Right. Sure.
And
Yeah.
we lost a lot of entrepreneurs because I believe at that time you were able to stay in that building for up to 3 years. And then after 3 years, it was the thought that you would locate your business somewhere downtown Trenton. But oftentimes we lost out because those entrepreneurs went to other communities that already had the academic infrastructure already in place. So we lost a lot to Philly. We lost a lot to Camden because they already had incubators that were set up, and they had a pipeline with some of the local universities.
Right.
And so I think
absolutely.
if we were to do that again this time, we have to make sure that the academic infrastructure in those pipelines are, well established so that we don't lose out. But there were some wonderful businesses that came through that incubator, and some of the entrepreneurs, I still keep in touch with today just to see how they're doing. So I would love to share some of those persons and their contacts with you, just so you can say, hey, this is what we're doing now. If you're interested when this innovative comes about, we would want you to be a part of that.
No, that's a fantastic point. And listen, when I was in Philadelphia,
yes,
incubators, it was a huge thing. And a lot of those companies coming out of those incubators ended up growing and becoming large companies. And so,
yes.
And so no, it's a very important process that I think would go a long way here in Trenton.
Yeah. Now, with the time that we have left, you want to give us your contact information as to how folks can follow you and keep track of your wonderful work that you're doing, Bryan, at Greater Trenton?
Oh, sure, absolutely. So, you can also always reach me via email at bevans at greatertrenton.org. You can reach us on Facebook at Greater Trenton NJ, on Twitter at Greater Trenton, on LinkedIn at Greater Trenton, and then Trenton Daily. You can reach us on Facebook at Trenton Daily News.
Fantastic.
And so, I'd love to, if you're not signed up for a Trenton Daily publication, just visit TrentonDaily.com and sign up, and you'll become part of the email blast.
Now, curious question. When's the last time Greater Trenton has done Meet the Community?
So we've done quite a bit of that, particularly before the pandemic.
Yes.
Obviously, the pandemic has put a strain on a lot of that, but we also we're in the process of also creating lunch and learns.
Yes.
Actually, the first one is this week, and these are really informal, small sessions with about 10 people or less, and we're doing various sessions of those to not only let people know what we're doing and how we're engaged in the community, but also to figure out how we can better engage with them. And so, absolutely, it's a very important process, and it's also part of our strategic planning for 2022 and beyond.
I love it. Now, curious question. If someone had a project that they thought was real strong and it had great legs, you would consider taking a look at that?
Oh, absolutely. Okay. Absolutely.
Excellent. Bryan, with the time that we have left, any shout outs you want to give out to people? Anything else we need to know about you and the great work that you continue to do?
Well, listen, I definitely want to give out a shout out to our CEO, George Sowa, who's just continues to do a tremendous work here in the city of Trenton. A lot of what we do at Greater Trenton is under the radar. Yes. And part of that is we're not necessarily looking to take credit for anything. Yes. We just want a greater Trenton. And that's what we're all about. So definitely give a shout out to him and the rest of our team, Shirley, Michael, and Drew Mumich here as well, and who does a great job with our Trenton Daily publication. And so, and also quickly, a shout out to John Harmon, the head of the African American Chamber of Commerce, who is our this year's recipient our Karen Francini Capital City Award, which is happening on December 5th,
Yes.
2022. And so we look forward to seeing everyone there.
And where's that going to be held?
It's going to be at Cooper's Riverview on Route 29.
Fantastic, man. Fantastic. How much are the tickets?
Check online.
Okay.
Check online. Check online.
All right, not a problem. Bryan, you have been fantastic, and I'm quite sure we're going to get a lot of traction from this episode because there's a lot of folks in the city of Trenton that had no idea as to the great work that you do and all the collaborations and all the connections that you have with all the important entities in our city. So again, thank you for the wonderful work, and I'm quite sure once they hear this podcast, they're going to say, oh, I know about Greater Trenton now. And I think that's what you want folks to know.
Absolutely. And again, I really appreciate the opportunity to enlighten your audience. And thanks for having me here. I appreciate it.
Listen, Bryan, thank you. You have been fantastic. Let's talk and text later on.
All right. I'll see you, sir. Thank you.
Thanks, buddy.
Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
That concludes another episode of the Entrepreneurial Enclave with Kevin Wortham, the podcast that focuses on building, maintaining, pivoting, planning, and investing in you, the entrepreneur. We hope you found this episode informative and enlightening. If you have any questions or comments about any of our episodes, please call 609-731-9311 or email kevin@minding-our-business.com. We look forward to joining us for our next one. Until next time.